want to do from now on, so that every time we do this kind of a project, that we have a little mission or just a question which we want to have answered. And yes, this will be the first time we do that. I'm alone at the moment. I'm the Raasta representative. So the rest of the gang is out. We decided we tried it out, and I'm just kind of doing and filming it myself. And next time you might see all of us again. I'm sure you will see in the next episode when we start and hit the road again. But I will talk a bit more about that, about Raasta Project 3 in a minute. So yes, how much can you actually minimize until it starts to negatively impact your life? I think this is like a very, very personal question. And for us, it has just shown, I mean, we went from having this place where we are staying now, plus a bigger city apartment. And last spring we decided that we will move here to have more resources, basically financially and time-wise, to travel the world and follow some of the projects which we had in mind for a very long time. And that is funny, we somehow always come up like, the more we travel, the more things we want to see. A lot of times when you travel, we kind of come up with ideas or like, oh, that would be cool to do and that would be cool to see or experience. And then, yeah, eventually new project ideas are born. So going back to the whole minimizing topic, we basically realized that minimizing is a lot of effort. It really takes a long time and a lot of effort to minimize the materialistic belongings. And we encountered that when we started to clear up our city apartment. There was another interesting phenomena, because everything we took into our hands, trying to decide whether we still need it, if we want to hold on to it or if we want to get rid of it, kind of came into that whole, oh, you know, we probably should keep it because you never know when you will need it again. So we ended up putting a lot of things into said storage rather than getting rid of it. And then we moved to the Alps. We cleared the flat, which was a lot of work, and we moved here. We started to travel and work from here and having that base here. And after about 6 months, we went down to the storage. We opened it's like a garage type of thingy. You've seen it in previous episodes. We opened it and we froze, because we couldn't even remember how much we put in there. And then it was interesting, because again that phenomena hit where we started to go through the things. We were overwhelmed and we didn't miss anything in these 6 months, but still we took the things into our hands and we were like, oh, might as well hold on to it. And I don't know, it's a kind of an attachment you're having, and probably a fear of not having enough means or whatever it is to replace it or to get it if you ever really need it again. And we then just made the very bold decision, this was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, to close the storage within 1 week. And that was huge, because there was still a lot of things in there. And what was important to us was that we don't just throw the things. I mean, from a time perspective, it would have been the easiest to just dump everything and move on. But the things we kept in there were all still in like really, really good condition. I mean, the things which were not good anymore, we got rid of before. And just from a perspective of resource, etc., we couldn't do that. I mean, we were like, no, these things, these pieces of furniture are still really good. So we cannot just kind of burn it or whatever. So we put it on eBay or Tutti, which is more common here in Switzerland. And we sold some of the things. We realized that we would not manage to sell everything in that short time. So we also started to look for other opportunities. We looked for option to donate furniture or other items for like daily use. So we ended up giving it to a childcare center, some of it, and some other things we just put on tutti for free in the end. And what was very interesting there, or what made a big impression on us, like in a positive way, was the encounters we had with very different people, which otherwise we would have never met. And very often we ended up talking to these people who came to pick up our things for a very long time. And it wasn't cozy or comfortable. It was like really cold in that storage thingy. But nevertheless, it's like, well, there was this kind of connection, and we got to hear really interesting stories. So this basically made us realize then, or it made it easier for us to let go and to hand over those storage keys back to the owner with like a very good feeling and with a very positive heart. Yeah. So yeah, I think this was one big learning. We realized that we still had a lot of attachment to certain things, and a long process or big process was basically to figure out what we really wanted to keep, like those pieces of furniture from my grandparents, which have like an emotional value which you cannot just replace, or some items which Renz got from his late parents, or things which are connected with them, who are no longer here, where we also realized they do have like a bigger value to us than just kind of IKEA bed which we can get again. So yeah, that was one thing. What we also realized and started to appreciate a lot is that basically the maintenance we have here in that small space is very little, and that is a nice thing. So we don't spend a lot of time cleaning or keeping or taking care of our things. This I think would be a big thing for us if we end up owning a house or something bigger again, because we both are super tidy and we like it like very clean. So inevitably you end up spending a lot of time doing that if you have a big apartment like we used to have. Yeah, so that is one thing we really appreciate. Otherwise, we have not really missed anything from a materialistic perspective. The sleeping situation was one thing which was not ideal in the beginning. We had that couch, a cream one, which you probably have seen in previous episodes, which we really liked, which we actually got even only probably 2 years ago. And we always had that dream of having a cream or white leather couch. Now this kind of converted into a bed where we slept and the kids slept in the room. But we figured out that didn't really work for us, because we had to make the bed every night, and somehow we just didn't find that super comfortable. So now it was also funny, because then my brother at Christmas, he approached us and he was like, "Hey, where did you buy that couch? We want to get the same one." And we were just wondering, because we were having on our mind that we might want to get rid of it and bring those grandparents' furniture. So we ended up giving that couch to my brother. So it was really nice to see that each kind of item found a good place and got like a second life, which made us like really, really happy. So now we feel very free to just roam around from here, but still have that place and that base to call home and to come back to. So that was still something which we like and which we don't see ourselves giving up right away, at least. So we don't see ourselves being like completely without a home or a base. Oh yeah, we wanted to also mention that feeling we got, or very much in general with minimizing, we kind of realized that it doesn't end there. you start with clearing out your storage, even here we went through all the drawers, all the cupboards again, to really get rid of the things which we don't use, which just have been lying there for like a really long time without having been used in the kitchen with appliances, etc. And we realized that it then doesn't stop there. I think a lot of the feelings or emotions which come up are kind of underlying, which we just cover with a lot of stuff. So at least for myself, I realized that when that whole attachment thingy came up, with now excluding the things which had any emotional value, but otherwise it was a big thing of that fear of not having enough, or kind of that sense of lack. And I realized that this was something which also in other areas, like our business, which we just started, is basically something which is coming up, that fear of that there is not enough, or that I'm not enough. That is something which we found very interesting, not very pretty sometimes, because it can also be applied, what we realized, for the journey which we are taking with our business. So we have been starting to set it up, and very often there as well you come across the thing of, oh, before we can go out we need this software, that tool, we need to have these fancy plugin or interface or template for the website before we can actually go out. And it made us realize that this is like a similar concept, that you always think that first you need something, or to get some validation with something before you can actually go out and do. And it made us realize that actually everything we need, we already have within us. There is no need to go and look like in the other garden or keep searching. I'm always like the type who is searching and wanting to optimize. So that actually everything is within us, everything we need to get started. You just have to do it. And that sounds so simple, yet it is difficult. Because you just then face a lot of your fears. And I've realized that going out with my business, there is a fear of judgment, of being judged, of probably being rejected, of the fear of, oh, what if people don't like it? What if people don't buy it? What if people talk bad about it? And guess what? I think this was one of the key things I had to overcome in the last few weeks, to just realize, like, no matter what you do or don't do, people will judge. It's natural. I mean, I do it. I try not to do it as often, at least, but it is natural. I mean, how often do we judge something or a situation or a person or whatsoever? So it is natural. I might as well, if I don't go out and don't do anything, people might judge me for having taken like education, which is here covered to a big extent by the state. So I've taken like a bachelor's degree and everything. So people might judge me for having taken advantage of the state without now contributing to the economy. So that is another way of looking at it. So, and the point here is just that in the end of the day, if you have that dream of, for example, owning a business or having that place on your own, then eventually you have to go out and do it. Now, I'm not saying you should do it completely unprepared, but then there is also that thing of hiding behind a certain sense of wanting to do it perfect, and then just never reaching the point of executing. And I think I'm really good at that. I'm not lazy. I think I'm not procrastinating that much, but I always find something which is not perfect yet, and kind of making that the reason why I cannot go out with it. And now we are not talking about the product or the service being like completely raw. So yeah, I think these have just been the things which came up on this journey as we were striping away layers of materialistic belongings, that some more personal or deeper things were coming up. And yeah, that wasn't always pretty. And the past few weeks and months were very freeing. We had a lot of learnings. I especially cried a lot out of exhaustion, desperation, or not knowing where our way will lead us. Nevertheless, I would not trade it for a thing, because I do believe that you have to walk through that sometimes, through also the pain or things which are situations which are not so easy, to grow. And I'm very grateful for these experiences. Yeah, and as I said, we enjoy having that base. But every time we have been here for some time, even though it's beautiful, I'm looking out at the Jinglehörner, who now kind of covered with like the last rays of sunshine for today. I truly love that. Nevertheless, after some weeks, there is always that urge where we kind of feel, okay, we are ready for a new adventure, for something new to discover. And so far that has been very easy with our kids as well. They truly enjoy it, and I think they are coming back now. So I really want to wrap up and just say that our next trip will lead us east. And we're not going to go by plane this time, we're going to go by train. And we're going to try to reach the Black Sea by train. And as far as the planning goes, we think we will travel through Austria, Hungary, and Romania. That at least is the plan. We don't know for how long we're going to be gone, but you can follow us along. So just subscribe to our channel or our blog, and then you can follow us along.